I didn't know where that came from. Good evening and welcome to the Thursday, January 21st meeting of the St. Tammany Parish School Board. Ms. Coakley, will you please call the roll?
Mr. Harrell.
Here.
Mr. Green. Mrs. Heinz. Mr. Derman. Mr. Loop. Mr. Nation. Mrs. Richardson. Mr. Winkler. Mr. Bittencourt. Mrs. Lamy. Mr. Hersey. Mr. Bro. Mr. Kuzan. Mrs. Page.
Thank you, Ms. Coakley. I've asked Fountainblue Junior High 7th graders Reagan Arduin and Brody Watson to please say the invocation and pledge. So please rise as Reagan gives the invocation.
Dear Lord, we pray that you keep our wonderful school district safe and healthy during the coronavirus pandemic and every day after that. We thank you for our life, our health, and our families. Bless us, keep us safe, and guide us to make the right decisions. All of this we pray in your name. Amen.
All right, Brody.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much, Reagan and Brody. Do any board members have any visitors they'd like to recognize tonight? Mr. Derman?
I don't know if Mr. Pittman is still here tonight, but he did show up earlier, and if he is still here, I just want to recognize him for his attendance tonight, and great to see him again. Appreciate it.
Thank you. All right, we'll go ahead and we'll move on to the appointment and swearing in of a person who meets the qualifications of the office to fill the vacancy of School Board District 9. These are the procedures that will be followed to elect the board member to fill the vacancy of District 9. The following persons have timely submitted their letters of interest in being appointed as a board member for District 9 and have been found to be eligible. Gia Baker, Dr. Judith Champagne, Laura Heidex, Doris Heckert, and Lance Lelaney. Each board member has received a copy of each letter of intent. Each person's name will be drawn randomly to determine the order in which they will have an opportunity to address the board. Each person in the order announced will address the board in support of their appointment, followed by questions from the board members and officers. After the last person addresses the board, individual board members may nominate one of the persons who have applied for appointment. A second to the nomination is not required, but is permitted. Only nominated persons can participate in the election process. Once all nominations are received, the president closes the floor for nominations and calls for comments by the board and public. Then the pool of nominated applicants are voted upon by the board members by paper ballot submitted to the president, and the votes are read aloud. Appointment is by first majority of the board members voting, selecting a person. Should there be a need for voting beyond the first ballot, procedures have been developed by the board attorney, which will be employed, and she is present to assist in advising as to these procedures. We will now draw the names for the order. Would you like to pick the order, Shelton? Thank you, Ms. Richardson.
All right, first one up, Laura Haddix. Second, Dr. Judith Champagne. Third, Gia Baker. Fourth, Doris Heckert. Last but not least, Lance Lillane.
Thank you so much, Ms. Richardson. Ms. Haddix, would you please approach the podium? Please just tell us a little bit about yourself and why you're applying for the position.
Okay. Is it okay to take our face masks off over at
Please.
the podium? Okay. Okay, first of all, my name is Laura Haddox. I want to thank you for your consideration. I'm interested in this position because it's important to give back to our community. There is no better way to serve than to ensure the development and welfare of our greatest asset, which is our children. I have a Bachelor of Science in Nursing. For 11 years of my career, I worked as a director. That experience has made me very knowledgeable of strategic planning guidelines and implementation. I have set budgets and ensured compliance for large organizations. I know how to write and implement policies and procedures. I was one of 3 individuals that developed the LPN curriculum at Delta College in Covington. We achieved a 98% pass rate on our state board exams. We utilized the same model as we opened a branch in Slidell. As director, I was involved in discipline issues, including termination and legal reporting as necessary. I understand proper documentation, as well as looking at both sides before making a decision. Safety is always a top priority. It is no different in the school system, and especially in the school system. We cannot teach, motivate, and achieve our goals without student safety. I was an instructor for 14 years. I was fortunate to work in the School to Work program through North Shore Technical Community College. I actually worked at Covington High School. While there, I had my own classroom. I followed all of the St. Tammany guidelines, attended faculty meetings, and was held accountable to the same standards as parish teachers. This experience will be beneficial as a board member. I'm very involved in my community and feel community and schools should go hand in hand to strengthen each other. I am a team player, open-minded, organized, and efficient. I believe our most important asset is our children. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I had a couple of quick questions. I think you've answered a lot of them in your opening. What community organizations do you participate in that would help the board build a coalition between that organization and the board?
I'm on the board of directors at the Maritime Museum in Madisonville. It's the Lake Pontchartrain Basin Maritime Museum. We have many field trip programs. We also do a lot of the STEM and the STEAM programs. And I think that's somewhere where we can reach out to each other.
especially in these times where we have to get creative with COVID and virtual learning.
Excellent, thank you. Being a member of the board requires shared decision-making. Please explain how you would work with the board, superintendent, and stakeholders to make informed decisions.
I feel like my role would be to review, to listen to the items that are presented, to see how this may impact our school district as a whole and our community as well, and bring forth any questions or concerns if there are any, or vote to approve what has been presented to us.
Thank you. What do you feel is the most pressing issue facing schools in District 9?
Besides COVID, because that's going to be a standard answer for everything, COVID and virtual learning, I think the biggest thing with District 9 is population growth. We are absolutely exploding at the seams. Our schools are at capacity, and to bring in the resources, the teaching personnel, all of the staff that it takes to educate our children, that is one of our greatest needs right now.
Thank you so much. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you.
Dr. Champagne, would you please approach the podium, introduce yourself, and give us a little bit about yourself and why you want to run?
Okay, good evening, everyone. Again, I am Judith Champagne, and I am honored and excited to be able to share with you all my interest in this District 9 board vacancy. So first, just a little bit about myself. I'm a lifelong Louisiana resident, with the last 7 years being here in Madisonville, Louisiana. And I'm also a proud two-time HBCU graduate, with the first being from Xavier University of Louisiana, and then secondly from Howard University College of Medicine in Washington, D.C., where I obtained my medical doctorate in 2010. So upon graduating, I returned back home to New Orleans, where I entered LSU OBGYN residency. And during my second year of residency is when I met my now husband, and we're now currently raising 2 young children in Madisonville. Actually, they were born and are being raised in District 9 of St. Tammany Parish. So just for that reason alone, my investment in the school system is obvious. But even before having kids, I've always had a specific passion for children. As a young adult, I created and taught a youth group at my church. And then just recently, I've been in talks with local contacts about forming a mentorship program in West St. Tammany. So I do not have to tell you all, as sitting board members, the uniquely challenging position you all are in today with navigating the pandemic, and by having to address the needs of not only the students, but the teachers, the parents, the personnel, as well as the entire community. So I say that to say I do not take my application into this position lightly. It just so happens I find myself in a uniquely opportune position to serve in this specific environment. For one, since putting my medical career on hold to raise my 2 young children, it has given me the availability to be 100% invested in this position. And by availability, that would extend to not only the teachers, students, and parents, but also the bus drivers, the custodial staff, the cafeteria staff, every facet of the schools in District 9. I would be 100% invested into finding any solutions they have issues with or any concerns they have. Secondly, my experience in medical practice in a surgical specialty has given me the capabilities of operating under high pressure situations like we find ourselves in today. Being able to work as a team, find solutions, and be able to perform in this environment, that is something that I do take from my, my work in medicine. And then lastly, but most importantly, my passion for children has given me the motivation to perform in this position with excellence. And you all may remember me throughout the years. I have attended board meetings. I've spoken on various topics at different board meetings here and in Slidell. I would travel. And that was before my kids were even school age. And that's because it wasn't for my benefit. It's because of my own innate desire to serve and have the well-being of children in my community as my number one priority, just outside of my family. That's my own passion. So this position would just be a natural next step for what's already in my heart and what I've already been doing, I'm currently doing. So first, I just want to welcome any questions and just thank you all for this opportunity to speak.
Thank you so much for applying. I had a couple of quick questions.
Yeah.
As I asked the previous candidate, what, if any, community organizations do you participate in that would help the board build a coalition between that organization and the board?
Okay, so organizations, my main participation is just in community organizations. So it would be, I community organize within social media. I have groups that I monitor, multiple groups that I monitor of mothers, and that's the main involvement. I don't have any specific, organizations that are by name, but it's what I create, just my own community organizing. I did participate with the city of Covington just on Monday with their MLK program, but I do have some connections with that. But other than that, it's really just community organizing is my main.
Good to know. Thank you so much. Being a member of the board requires shared decision-making. Please explain how you would work with the board, superintendent, and stakeholders to make informed decisions.
Okay, so mainly it would be what's in the best interest of District 9. So I would take what the parents, teachers, whatever their either concerns or what they are needing, I would take that as the number one consideration when working with the superintendent. Whatever he's trying to get done, I would just make sure it's in the best interest of District 9 and then work to, because we would have the same end goal. So it's just the way to get there. So I'm always open, I'm a team player, always open-minded with, as long as we're getting to the same goal, that's that's the main thing. So
Good. What do you feel is most pressing issue facing schools in District 9?
yeah, obviously it's definitely population. That is absolutely, and that's why I'm encouraged to see Madisonville Elementary building on the annex and trying to accommodate that. But like the previous person said, we have to get teachers, resources, everything in for that. But also with District 9, there is something that I do hear parents complaining about, but not so much with the younger grades, but just with bullying. That's something I also have an interest in making sure that I'm doing everything in my power to make sure all the students feel safe on buses, whatever it is. That's another issue that I have seen come up a lot recently. So
Thanks so much. Did any board members have any follow-up questions or anything? That's all I have. Thank you so much for applying.
Thank you.
Next, we have Miss Gia Baker. Miss Baker, would you please approach the podium and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Gotta put my eyes on. Superintendent Jabbia and ladies and gentlemen of the board, thank you for inviting me here tonight and considering me as a candidate to represent my district, District 9. Let me start by giving you my background. I was born and raised in Covington. I currently reside in Madisonville. I am a proud graduate of Covington High School and a retired educator from St. Tammany Parish Public Schools. My husband, Robert, and I raised our two daughters in this community, and they are both thriving products of the St. Tammany Parish Public School System. My career in St. Tammany began as a 6th grade language arts teacher at Little Oak Middle School. I transferred to Mandeville Junior High, where I taught 7th and 8th grade regular and special education language arts. For 1 year following, I served as a special education coordinator at Covington High School. And for my final 10 years of service, I was a special education IEP facilitator for the district, serving mostly junior highs and high schools. I retired in January 2013. After retirement, I continued to stay connected. I instantly became a volunteer at Mandeville High, where my daughters attended school. I also continued to attend IEP meetings as a guest, not an employee, with students and families I had developed relationships with. Not long into retirement, I began working and continue to work with my husband in our heavy construction business. In 2016, I became a board member of the 22nd Judicial District Children's Advocacy Center, Hope House. I currently serve on the Executive Committee and the Strategic Planning Committee and served as president last year. I am passionately committed to the CAC as we work tirelessly with the expectation that every child in our district is safe and has the freedom to experience a healthy and happy childhood. Last fall, I was accepted as a member of Leadership St. Tammany Class of 2020. Due to COVID, that experience has been postponed until the fall of this year. Also, prior to COVID, I served as a member on the pastoral council of my church, St. Benedict's. My roots are deep and multi-generational in this community, and I consider myself truly blessed to call St. Tammany home. I appreciate you considering me for a seat at the table to represent District 9. If chosen, I promise to easily and be readily accessible to the community I represent. I believe my experience as a student, a parent, and a professional in the St. Tammany Parish Public School System, along with my business experience and my continued community involvement and dedication in working with and advocating for children, making me a considerable candidate to be part of an awesome team as a school board member. I sincerely believe with all of my heart that an investment in children is an investment in the future of us all.
Thank you so much, Ms. Baker. I think you hit on the community organizations already, so I'll skip to the second question. Being a member of the board requires shared decision-making. Please explain how you would work with the board, superintendent, and stakeholders to make informed decisions.
Well, I think the key word there is informed. So what you have to do, I really believe, is stay connected to the school and the community, and then see what it is and what the goal is of the school board, and work collaboratively to reach that goal.
Thank you. All right, and besides COVID and population growth, what do you feel is the most pressing issue facing District 9?
Well, I agree that those two are the absolute most. And then also, I think in times like we're experiencing with no experience, I think we have to be there to support each other. We have to be there to support these families that don't know what to do and where to go with this viral education. And I think we have to be there for teachers as well. They're being expected to do things they've never been trained to do. I mean, we can't, there's no textbook that comes with a global pandemic. So I think supporting the people that are in the trenches is what we have to do.
Excellent. Good cover for the no population. Did any other board members have any questions? Or that's all I have. Thank you so much for applying. Up next, we have Ms. Heckert. Would you please approach the podium and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Good evening. My name is Doris Heckert. I'm the wife to Jonathan and the mom to Jackson. I'm a graduate of LSU Manship School of Mass Communication. I always had big plans to go into television production or go to law school, but God had other plans. I met Jonathan in college and we got married in 2005. In 2007, we had Jackson. He was born with a rare orthopedic condition. Becoming his mom also made me a researcher, more than I had been before, and an advocate. I learned all I could about his diagnosis and that I was the one who knew him best. Learning to advocate for him and for others who are differently abled has led me on paths I had never fathomed before. I have testified before the Louisiana legislature on several occasions advocating for funding and other needs for people with disabilities in the state. I have testified before Bessie to advocate for students with disabilities across the state. While I will always be Jackson's mom and advocate, I know that a huge part of advocating for him also means advocating for his teachers, administrators, staff, and school system. It takes a village, and advocating is about doing so for the entire village. Marrying the son of two educators taught me the importance of advocating not only for the needs of the students, but also for educators and administrators. Being the first college graduate in my family and a product of public education myself, in a system that's about an hour and a half from here, gives me a unique perspective. When we relocated here 3 years ago for my husband's job, the St. Tammany Parish Public Schools was a huge draw for us. One of the biggest things we've always said about this system is that inclusion is a top-down buy-in, and every student here is valued. It's also clear that students' individual needs are met and the education is valued. I thank you for your time tonight, and I'd be honored to serve on the board representing District 9.
Thank you so much for applying. A couple of quick questions. Being a member of the board requires shared decision-making. Please explain how you would work with the board, superintendent, and stakeholders to make informed decisions.
So I've served on other boards before. I also served as the parent liaison for early intervention, early steps in Louisiana. And so I know that you must hear from all stakeholders. So you must hear from the parents, you must hear from the therapists who work with those children, you must hear from the state representatives who work with those children. So you must hear from all stakeholders, and you must make the best decision that could benefit those children, the therapists, the best decision that you can make for everyone involved.
Thank you so much. What do you feel is the most pressing issue facing schools in District 9?
So being a transplant ourselves, we contribute to that population growth. I only have one, so we only contribute at one. However, the mental health of our students and our teachers is huge right now. I know that I used to go in, I would serve on the, we called it the woohoo wagon. So we go around and give treats, part of the PTA to the teachers and stuff. And that was huge for them. And so we haven't been able to do that because of COVID. And I know that that was a huge thing for them, and just not being able to help out in the classroom, make copies, stuff like that. So I know that's a huge thing for our teachers. Not being able just to see my kid on campus and embarrass him has been huge. So it's a big deal to all of them. So just the mental health of our students and our teachers is a huge thing that I think that a lot of us don't think about when we think about educating them.
Excellent. Thank you so much for applying.
Thank
Did
you.
anybody else have any questions? Thank you so much. And last but not least is Lance Lelaney. Please approach the podium and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Good evening.
Good evening.
It's a tough act to follow, those folks, huh? Well, my name is Lance Lane. I was born and raised right here in Madisonville, Louisiana. I am a product of the St. Tammany Parish school system, specifically District 9 schools, Madisonville Elementary and Madisonville Junior High. I then went on to attend Covington High, where one of my teachers is sitting on this board this afternoon. Coach Loop played football for the great Jack Salter between 1993 and 1996. I am married. I have two children, ages 7 and 9. They both attend St. Tammany Parish Public Schools right now, Madisonville Elementary and Lancaster Elementary, which brings me to my interest in this position. In my personal life, I enjoy the outdoors, hunting and fishing, and spending time with my family. I spend a great deal of time with my family, camping, and again, outdoors. In my professional life, I have 20 years management experience, with 11 being in the director executive level and the hospitality, distribution, and information technology fields. During that time, I have acquired a skill set that I feel would suit me in the performance of duties on this board, including strong business ethics, management of people, business processes, operations, accounting practices, solution development, creating and managing proposals and contracts at the commercial, state, and federal level. And last but not least, sitting on a board of directors and multiple companies has taught me to work as a team and accomplish goals as a team. And I think that would suit me very well here. My information technology background could be an asset to the St. Tammany Parish School Board, and assessing new technologies in the classrooms and for virtual learning moving forward. My experience with government contracting gives me great insight into contract comprehension, acquisition regulation functions, and bidding process policies and procedures. In closing, I stand before you this evening willing and able to accept the responsibility of serving the people of District 9 as their representative on the St. Anthony Parish School Board, to come together with other members and the superintendent to accomplish the goal of continuing to provide a top-notch education to our children for generations to come. Thank you.
Thank you so much for applying. A couple of quick questions. What, if any, community organizations do you participate in that would help the board build a coalition between that organization and the board?
I am not officially associated with any community organizations. I spent a great deal of time with 2 children at Coquille, and I'm a very active member at my church. If you've ever been out to Coquille, you know that it will cost you most of your time when your kids play multiple sports and with multiple children. So that's.
I completely understand. Being a board member of the board requires shared decision-making. Please explain how you will work with the board, superintendent, and stakeholders to make informed decisions.
I think a thorough review of all information, all documents available, a complete understanding of policy is very important in making decisions at this level. So I think a great working relationship with the members of the board and the superintendent are paramount in that respect.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Did any other board members have any questions?
You didn't ask me about the District 9 problem.
I was going to let you slide on that one,
Oh,
but
I got a great answer.
you got a good answer? All right. What's the most pressing issue facing District 9?
Obviously overcrowding, but the second most pressing in my mind that I find personally is traffic in some areas over there. I think, it's an item that needs to be addressed eventually, and working with state and local government, authorities to address those issues, I think is going to be important. Highway 22 is becoming more and more perilous every day. I live on it. I see it all the time. So I think that's a big issue that needs to be addressed sooner rather than later.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. The floor is now open for nominations. Yes, Ms. Sainz. Or I guess we got to move to public.
I wanted to ask you if you would just clarify before the nominations come up that this position will be filled with this vacancy until a special election can be called. And
Yes.
would you explain that?
Yes, this position what we're doing is we're going to appoint somebody to fill the position until, and I don't have the exact date in front of me, but I believe it's mid-October, to which a special election will be held to fulfill the remainder of the term. In October, that election will only fill until the 2022, and then there'll be the regular election. All right, the floor is open for nominations. No, it'll be after the, Mr. Nation.
I'd like to nominate Laura Haddock.
All right. Mr. Derman.
I would like to nominate Ms. Gia Baker, but I'd also like to say that if I would be scared if I was running against any of these people. Very impressive group of individuals that are here tonight, and I would like to thank them for being involved in this process. And we're lucky to have any of y'all, but thank you.
Yes, sir, Ms. Kuzan.
Thank you. I'd like to nominate Dr. Judy Champagne.
Ms. Lamy. All right, Ms. Richardson.
I'd like to second the nomination for Dr. Judith Champagne, please.
Not necessary, but I appreciate it. Are there any other nominations? Are there any questions from the board? Any comments by the public? Please approach the, please state your name.
My name is Denise Kuzan, and I am a very good friend of Miss Dr. Judith Champagne. I have 3 children that attend District 9, 2 at Madisonville Elementary and 1 at Lancaster. And I would just like to first say thank you for even considering her for the appointment. I ask that you would take into consideration her passion that she has for children. We both teach at our community church, and she is a Bible instructor also. She is sincere, she is thoughtful, and she is deliberate in her approach to leadership. She has a constructive teamwork attitude that allows her to participate in communication with people in an open and honest manner. She has every child's best interest at heart, every single child's best interest at heart. And it's because of her passion for children is why I think that she would be perfect for the position and that she would be a great asset. She's very passionate about giving back to her community. She's passionate about children, and not only does she want the children in District 9 to succeed now, but the future generations of children through District 9, because her children and her children's children and her children's children, all of those children are important to her and to me also. And so that is why I would like her to be considered. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your comments. All right, board members, the paper, please approach.
Yes, my name is Casey Revere. I'm also a resident of Madisonville, Louisiana. Also an elected official, Justice of the Peace in that ward as well. I know my candidate that I came with didn't get nominated, but I would like to, again, kind of express my backing to Mrs. Laura Haddix. She's also, I'd say, a close friend of mine, went to school with her daughter. Been knowing her most of my life. Would like to back her and her husband. Mr. Brad Haddix, he's also a city councilman in Madisonville, town councilman, and both of them have done so much for that town. Again, they are great with kids, growing up, great with the schools. They've done a lot of fundraising for the police department, among other things, in that area. So again, I'd like to back my personal recommendation for what that's worth for Mrs. Haddix. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and thank you for your service. Please approach. Thank you, sir.
Afternoon. My name is James Davis. Most people know me as Gus Davis. I'm president of the Greater Covenant Branch NAACP. And I'm here for Ms. Champagne. I'm talking to all the people that I heard spoken seem like they're well qualified. But I worked here for 8 years under Mr. Lord McKee. This used to be part of the cafeteria, the old gym. Those stages still there from 78 to 86 before I became a letter carrier. Mr. Durman, one of the people I served until I retired. But I've been through so many things. Three of my sons graduated Covenant High. I graduated Rosenwald before integrations. But we still don't seem like we're moving forward because some of the teenagers, and my grandson graduated from Covenant High last month. He's going to Hammond right now, going to Southeastern. So it still don't seem like some of the young people, high school, junior high school, they say is that I don't see anybody look like me in certain places. You know, all the people that come up here are very well qualified for the job. But you go into school. I graduated here in '64. All my sons graduated Covenant High, but they don't see anybody looking like them anywhere, other than very few teachers at certain schools. I work at different schools. When President Obama was president, when he became president, we had to go through a lot of schools because of the situation that happened. Because this is 2021. I damn near died in Vietnam. two of my kids, three people and my two sons, we all fought for this country. My middle son went to Iraq 3 times, but God brought him back safe. But we come back home and they don't see anybody in certain positions that look like they are. And the school boards, great school system. I see in the paper all the time, number 1 or 2, 55 schools or whatever. But as far as our young people that's graduating and the kids that's going to school, they tell their parents and stuff like this. We don't see nobody that look like us in some of these positions. And you know, some of this stuff needs to be changed. All these people that talk are very well qualified, but we don't see nobody up here but 1 or 2 people out of 14 districts. And I know it's not that many African Americans in this parish, but they got things that people in leadership can do. You know, and like I said, all the people who did what they had to do. But still, like I said, I worked here for 8 years, all this stuff and everything, but we don't see no changes in this system. You know, it needs to be some changes because you got our own kids are seeing this and talking about it, and that's not a good thing. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your comments and service, sir. Yes, ma'am, in the red shirt on the left. Please state your name.
Hi, I'm Tara Ferdinand, and I just want to say it's a pleasure to be here to speak with you all on behalf of Dr. Judith Champagne. And I'm thankful that you guys have nominated her, and I'm requesting that you guys vote for her. Dr. Champagne, besides all of her accolades and achievements, as obvious of accomplishing a medical degree, a doctor of medicine, you know, all the years of training and education and test taken and just being in a classroom education, besides all of that, besides her leadership on developing several local mom organizations, local mom groups, women groups in this community that she thought of, she developed on her own. Besides all of that, I would say foremost, her character supersedes everything, all of those accomplishments I previously made. Judith, Dr. Champagne, has character where no matter what task you set for her, she will over exceed your expectations. The simplest of tasks, she would devote so much time and energy to see that that task is completed. I feel that her foremost character and attribute also is being a strong woman of God. Every day she devotes time to walking in her purpose and making sure all of her steps and moves are guided by her Christian faith. Above anything, she devotes time to this on a daily basis. And I just wanted to add that to everyone else that spoke for her. She is a medical doctor, but at this point in her life, she has devoted all of her time to her family, and she has more time to devote to being a school board member. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your comments. Yes, sir. Please state your name when you get to the podium.
My name is Thomas Mitchell. I'm the Executive Director of Children's Advocacy Center Hope House, located right around the corner. It's my honor to be here today and really recommend to you our wonderful board president, Gia Baker. I'm so happy that you all had as part of the inclusion criteria on questioning that variable related to community involvement and board servitude. For those of you who don't know, Children's Advocacy Center Hope House is a mandated organization by the Louisiana Children's Code to collect all of the forensic evidence in the entire 22nd Judicial District related to child abuse cases. So anytime there's any investigation with STPPS or any other law enforcement entity, that entity is required to bring that child to the CAC for the evidence collection, advocacy, mental health treatments. I can tell you that under Gia's leadership within the past 2 years, we have undoubtedly experienced tremendous growth, collaboration. Around this time last year, she was integral in the development with the CEA agreement and a collaboration with the St. Tammany Parish government and Parish President Mike Cooper. I could go on and on about her tremendous value to the kids, the 350 kids, more kids than we've ever seen that walked through the door in 2020 last year. Each one of those kids benefited as a result of Gia's presence and her leadership. I could state the quantitative, measurable outcomes as a result of her leadership on our board. However, I'd really like to just state one objective, measurable fact that's really remarkable. In 1994, our organization was founded by Parish President Pat Brister, who wasn't Parish President at the time, but she was part of the Junior League and a heavy catalyst in creating the CAC, along with the North Shore Home Builders Association. In 26 years, every year the Board of Directors nominate one member to be Board Member of the Year. And it's a very prestigious award. The mayor, the parish president come out in January at our induction ceremony, and they honor this individual. We have 18 board members, some appointed. Colin Sims, the chief of the Criminal Justice Division with the DA's office, and several other, Chief Tim Lentz. And only one person has been nominated twice and been awarded twice in that 26-year history, and that's Gia Baker. So in 2018, Board Member of the Year, and 2020, Board Member of the Year. And I think that speaks volumes to her character, her servitude, her expertise, and her passion for serving kids. And that is an enhancement to her educational experience. So it's to me my honor to recommend to you such an incredible asset to our community. And thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much for your comments. Any other? Yes, ma'am. Please approach the podium and state your name.
Hello, Stephanie Underwood. I'm a teacher at Lancaster. I will be honest and say I wasn't expecting to come up here tonight, but I just wanted to really speak supporting Doris Heckard. I want to make sure and stand up and show truly how much I support her and other coworkers and friends and family of mine do as well. She's someone who's extremely involved and supportive in all aspects of education. I've personally witnessed her make people feel supported and full of joy by her actions and words. She will truly bend over backwards to ensure that all stakeholders are supported and that issues are addressed. She doesn't just listen to problems. She creates solutions and motivates others around her. She truly is a great choice to fill this seat, and I really hope that y'all take an opportunity to vote her in. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your comments. Any other comments from the public? Seeing none, the paper ballots are at y'all's seat. If y'all would please cast your vote and pass this way. Do I have all the? All right, I'm going to read the votes aloud and ask each board member to confirm that is their vote. Mr. Betancourt, you voted for Laura Haddix. Mr. Kuzan, you voted for Judith Champagne.
Yes.
Mr. Nation, you voted for Laura Haddix. I voted for Gia Baker. Ms. Page, you voted for Doris Heckert.
Yes.
Ms. Lamy, you voted for Doris Heckert. Ms. Richardson, you voted for Ms. Judith Champagne. Ms. Heinz, you voted for Ms. Gia Baker. Mr. Green, you voted for Ms. Gia Baker. Mr. Darman, you voted for Ms. Gia Baker. Mr. Luke, you voted for Ms. Gia Baker. Mr. Winkler, you voted for Ms. Champagne, Dr. Champagne. Ms. Coakley, were you keeping? Please. All right, I have Ms. Heckert is receiving 2 votes. Ms. Haddix is receiving 2 votes. Ms. Champagne is receiving 3 votes. And Ms. Baker is receiving 5 votes. Congratulations, Ms. Baker. Thank you, everybody, for y'all's interest in the position.
I'm sorry. The person who is going to be placed in this seat has to receive a simple majority of the votes, and none of the candidates did that. So we have to have another round of voting.
So we,
Yes, we'll have another round with the top 2.
top 2.
And so that would be Dr. Champagne and Gia Baker. And if there is a majority for one of the candidates, that would be the person who is seated in the position.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Trying to go. This is just a go. Is that all the vote? Oh, Ms. Lane. I'll try this again. All right, starting with Ms. Lamy. You cast your vote for Gia Baker. Ms. Benton, Ms. Heinz, you cast your vote for Ms. Gia Baker. Mr. Darman, you cast your vote for Ms. Gia Baker. Mr. Loop, you cast your vote for Ms. Gia Baker. Mr. Winkler, you cast your vote for Ms. Dr. Champagne. Mr. Green, you cast your vote for Ms. Gia Baker. Ms. Richardson, you cast your vote for Dr. Judith Champagne. Ms. Page, you cast your vote for Ms. Gia Baker. Mr. Kuzan, you cast your vote for Dr. Judith Champagne.
I did.
Mr. Nation, you cast your vote for Ms. Gia Baker.
I did.
I cast my vote for Ms. Gia Baker. Mr. Betancourt, you cast your vote for Dr. Judith Champagne. Eight to 4. We had 4 votes for Dr. Judith Champagne, and we had 8 votes for Ms. Gia Baker. Congratulations, Ms. Baker. Thank you, everybody that applied. I appreciate the interest and I encourage you to consider running in October. Ms. Baker, if you would step up to the podium, we'll get you sworn in and have a spot right here next to me for you.
You can stand over here. Did you bring your button? You did? Okay. I'll hold it and you can just place your hand on it. Okay. Place your right hand on the Bible, please. Okay.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, repeat after me. I, Gia Baker,
I, Gia Baker,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
and laws of the United States
and laws of the United States
and the Constitution
and the Constitution
and laws of this state,
and laws of this state,
and that I will faithfully and impartially
and I will faithfully and impartially
discharge and perform
discharge and perform
all of the duties
incumbent on me
as school board member, District 9,
District 9,
St. Tammany Parish,
St. Tammany Parish,
according to the best of my ability
according to the best of my ability
and understanding.
and understanding.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
All right, we'll take a 5-minute recess while we get everybody settled in. Thank you. All right, if everybody could take their seats.
But I wouldn't have been here to vote.
All right, moving on. We've got a few special recognitions tonight. The Certificate of Achievement for Excellent in Financial Reporting, Government Finance Officers Association of Louisiana. I'd like to introduce Mr. Mickey Simon and Mr. Brian Huval with Laporte CPAs and Business Advisors. Please step up to the podium. Thank you.
Great. Good evening. Mickey and I are here tonight to present two awards. Both these awards demonstrate that the school board is committed to fiscal transparency as you share financial information above and beyond what generally accepted accounting principles require. It also demonstrates a high level of sophistication and expertise in financial reporting. For both of these awards, the reports are submitted to the respective organizations and are scrutinized against a rigorous checklist by selected report reviewers, which are comprised of individuals and expertise in public financial reporting. What is really impressive is that the St. Tammany Parish School Board has won these awards, both of these awards, for 32 consecutive years. That's strong. The first award is from the Government Finance Officers Association, or the GFOA. This association is known as the premier governmental accounting organization, so their standards are very high. And your school district is consistently meeting these high standards, which is a tribute to your team. So at this time, I'd like to ask Gary Silva to come forward, and on behalf of the St. Tammany Parish School Board, accept the GFOA Certificate of Excellence in Financial Reporting Award. Congratulations, Gary, and your team. Okay. The second award is from the Association of School Business Officials, or ASBO for short. This award focuses on much of the same criteria, but it's specific to school districts only. So its review is a little more specialized. Notably, only 21 Louisiana school districts received this award last year. And that's less than 1/3 of the state's school districts. So you're in rare air. That's good. For these reasons, it is my honor to congratulate the board, the administration, and especially the Business Affairs Department on this achievement. So Gary, again, on behalf of the St. Tammany Parish School Board, would you come up and accept this award as well? Congratulations. So,
Mr. Jabby, did you want to say a few words?
Yeah, first off, I'd like to thank Mr. Huval and Mr. Simon for being here and being patient with us tonight. But we appreciate y'all coming out tonight. I'd also like to thank the Business Affairs Complete Department for doing just a tremendous job. They go above and beyond for our system every day. I'd also like to say a special thank you to Ms. Terry Prevost and her team, Mr. Gary Silva, Ms. Janet Stevens, Mr. Ron Randolph, Ms. Shannon Jenkins, for all the great work that you all do. Would you please stand to be recognized, please? Thank you all very much.
Great. Thank you all.
Thank you very much. We have a special resolution honoring the 2020 board president. Ms. Heinz, would you please read the resolution?
I'd be happy to, but before I read the resolution, I'd just like to personally thank Mr. Nation for serving as the president of the board last year. I know from experience, and there are others on the board who've served as president also, and it's a very time-consuming job. And Mr. Nation stepped up to the plate and spent all that time. He took the lead by representing the board at many school functions, and as well as spending time answering emails on behalf of the board and just representing us very well, and we appreciate that. I know he spent plenty of time on the phone talking to board members and others, certainly administrators, and uniquely he had to deal with two very important things other than the regular day-to-day obligations, and that was the COVID pandemic and the superintendent search. And I know he's probably going to have dreams about these things in his year as president, but we do appreciate it. And I would like to offer the following resolution. Whereas Michael C. Nation has served the students, parents, employees, and community members of St. Tammany Parish as president of the St. Tammany Parish School Board for the past year, serving in 2020. And whereas Mr. Nation has helped maintain a strong working relationship among members of the school board and with the school system administration. And whereas while serving as school board president, Mr. Nation championed public education, spreading the motto of the St. Tammany Parish Public School System of every child, every day for a successful tomorrow. And whereas Mr. Nation has worked to serve the needs of students, parents, and school system employees throughout his leadership and strived to meet community expectations of educational excellence. Now therefore be it resolved that the St. Tammany Parish School Board does, by virtue of this resolution, wish to recognize and appreciate the many contributions made by Michael C. Nation and express gratitude for his dedicated service to the students, parents, employees, and community members of the St. Tammany Parish Public School System. Be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution be spread upon the official minutes of this board, with the copy being sent to Mr. Nation as a tribute to his dedication and hard work. And I'd like to offer a motion that we accept this resolution, and thank you so much, Mr. Nation. In case you didn't hear, there was a unanimous second to the motion.
I just want to present this plaque to you.
Thank you, Mr. Harris. Absolutely. Thank you.
Feel free to say a few words.
Yeah, I got
A few.
that's right. My mother would say if she were here, she got some awards like this. She got her Emmy. So, but I would like, was an honor to serve this great school system and this great administration during 2020. As I've said many times long before I became president, we have the greatest school system not only in the state, but in the country. And one of the nice things about being on the board as well as being an officer, including being president, is that we've got such a great administrative team that it really requires no effort on our part, except when your superintendent decides to retire and move to and go to work in Baton Rouge. Then it gets a little hairy, but other than that, and we certainly miss Trey, but we're so thankful to have Frankie. You're the right man for the job, and we're looking forward to great things from you. So anyway, thank you all for this honor.
Thank you so much. We have School Board Member Recognition Month. Mr. Javier, would you like to say a few words? Wait, we have a unanimous second. Would everybody please vote on the motion? Any comments from the board or comments from the public? Seeing none. We have 12 yeas, 0 nays, and 1 abstention. Thank you, Mr. Nation, for abstaining. All right, School Board Member Recognition Month, Mr. Javier.
Board members, you'll find at your seats a certificate from the administration staff. January is School Board Appreciation Month. Our school system would like to take this opportunity to recognize and express our appreciation and gratitude for each of our board members. Your dedication and commitment to the students and employees is priceless. You go the extra mile for this educational establishment and for the work environment of our employees and this school system every day. Please accept this certificate as a sign of appreciation and gratitude for all that you do for St. Tammany Parish every day. Thanks to each of you, and we appreciate your service to our community. Would everyone please join in a round of applause for all of our board members, please? I'd also like to congratulate Gia Baker on joining. I look forward to working with you. Thank you.
Mr. Betancourt, you had a comment?
Thank you, Mr. Jalbia, and also for our newest board member, Ms. Baker. Could we see that she gets a certificate as well?
Yes, sir. I didn't have the ability to do that yet, Mr. Betancourt. Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Javia. Moving on to public comments. For 5 minutes, we had a Mr. Jeffrey Polito with Pride. Mr. Polito, if you don't mind stepping up.
Yeah, I'm Mr. Jeff Polito. I teach theater at Fontainebleau High School. I started teaching in the parish in August of 2000. And in August of 2005, I had an opportunity to move to Fontainebleau, and I've been there ever since. I tell people all the time I have the absolute best job in the parish. I teach kids a subject that I love at a school that I love, from the very supportive administration and faculty. But I'm doubly blessed because I also have an opportunity over the years to work with an organization called Pride. In 1982, a group of moms sitting around a kitchen table, that's the legend. They sat around that kitchen table. They became aware of the drug problem that was really starting to take hold in the country. They partnered with a group called Pride. Pride stands for Parent Resource Institute for Drug Education. The objective was to be able to learn what they could learn and put together workshops and seminars and presentations to teach parents everything they could about this problem so that they could best serve their students. Across town in Slidell, a different group of moms at a different table, that's the legend, was putting together a summer camp called PA Camp, Positive Action Camp. The objective of this camp was to teach young people how to be leaders in their community, how to be, like we say at Fontainebleau, Optimus Optimorum, the best of the best. And so the moms from PA Camp reached out to the moms with Pride for support, for sponsorship, and for help. Of course, they saw the connection, and 38 years later, we're still together. Pride's been running this PA camp for that whole time. Kids come to PA camp, they learn in small groups, they participate in workshops, they get together and they have fun, and they learn to be leaders. They learn to make good decisions when it comes to drugs and alcohol. If they enjoy that experience, they join the Pride Troop. The troop is an opportunity for kids from high schools across the parish, mostly in our public schools, to do community service, community outreach. They get together for social time. They do performances, and all this to teach them how to be better leaders and how to spread that message to others. Really excited that about a year ago, some of our youth leaders did a really mature thing. They got together a presentation and they came to our board meeting and they said, we think that the name Pride no longer adequately serves what we do. We've grown so much beyond just a parent organization. We're about action. We're about taking action. So they brought that to us, our board. We talked, we debated about it, and that's what we did. We decided to take the leadership from the kids, and we changed the name of our organization from Pride Youth and Community Resources to Action Youth and Community Resource, and that just happened real recently. My involvement with this organization started in 2002. I had an opportunity to join the summer camp as a staff, and I never left. And here it is 20 years later, and I'm still doing it. I'm real proud of what we've accomplished together. We have a great history. I know that our best days are still ahead. So I wanted to come here and share this opportunity with you, the school board in St. Tammany. We've had a great working relationship with this board and with the school system for all 38 of those years. So I want to thank you for that. I want to thank Mr. Kosei and Dr. Tillman, who have in recent years really guided us through our time working with students. Congratulations. I look forward to meeting you and working with you. And I know that, again, our best days are still ahead. So thank you for giving me the couple of minutes to come and share what we're all about. If you have any questions, you can always reach out to me at I'm at Fontainebleau High School. But we have a website, actionycr.org. visit the website and find out what we're about, see how you can be a part of our best days. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Moving on to 3-minute public comments. Up first, we have Ms. Trish Craddock. Please step up to the podium and state your name and address for the record.
Good evening. I'm Trish Craddock, the interim president of the Federation, and I live in Slidell. Good evening, Superintendent Jabbia, President Harrell, and members of the board. I am again before you to respectfully ask for an additional 10 COVID days for all employees. Day in and day out, teachers, paras, custodians, bus drivers, bus aides, food tech, maintenance, and what did I forget? Secretaries. They work at the sites to make it a safe environment for staff and students. Even with all the cleaning and sanitizing, there are people who are coming in contact with people who are positive for COVID or coming down with it themselves. For those employees who are out the second or maybe even a third time, this can be a financial hardship if they have used their original 10 COVID days and they've used up their sick days. In the next few days, the school system will be notified of additional monies that's being sent to the parish as part of the $900 billion Response and Relief Act that was passed in December. It is supposed to be 3 to 4 times more money than received last March. The employees of St. Tammany Parish Public Schools need your help in removing a major concern. They need to know if they encounter someone positive and have to quarantine, that they don't have to worry about providing for their family, because this board has their back. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Up next, we have Mr. Justin Bleeker. Mr. Bleeker, I apologize if I'm saying that wrong. Would you please step up, state your name and address?
Yes, sir. My name's Justin Bleeker. I live in Slidell. All y'all should know me by now. But anyway, my name's Justin Bleeker. I want to explain that my words may sound a little broken. Because I have speech impairment and problems reading, I am here to discuss what happened to me at school in 4th grade year. I was attacked in the bathroom by the janitor. I was raped more than once. He threatened me by choking me. He told me if I ever told anyone, he would hurt me or kill my family. I was so scared and hurt. I tried to hide from him by avoiding that bathroom and hallway, but he would come and find me. There were times that I would climb up the poles holding the roof to the breezeway, up then onto the main floor to hide. I eventually told my parents what happened, and I no longer want back to Abney. After many years of counseling, I tried to go back to school. I went back, but not for long. My parents were told that my identity would be kept quiet, so no one would know I was one of the kids that was molested by the janitor. There was a lie. The teachers would talk about me walking down the hallway. Kids would ask questions. Why? I don't understand. I would take my cell phone to school with me just to be able to call my mom. So I felt somewhat safe. I have many problems that make it hard for me to learn. The school and the teachers failed to teach me to read at a level to be able.
Excuse me, sir.
That's my freedom of speech to say whatever I want, no matter what law school is doing. It doesn't matter. Every one of y'all deserves to be an apology for what's going on. Y'all don't want to listen to me, that's fine. I had enough of these friendships where every one of y'all agree. All right? Y'all want to listen to me, that's fine. Y'all go.
Up next, we have Ms. Rebecca Hickman. Please approach the microphone and state your name.
Hi, I am Justin Bleeker's mom. I want all of you to look at me. Look at these tears. They're real. I'm at a loss for words how things could still be going on for over a decade. Why are these actions being overlooked and nothing done? I have sat through depositions, criminal trials, civil trial, and listened to wrongdoings. There were admissions of this wrongdoings during civil trial. Why are these individuals moving up within this system? An employee should not be allowed to continue working after admitting their wrongdoings. The principals neither did their jobs and remain active within the school system. Teachers and speech pathologists of Justin's during this time failed with their responsibility of watching him. Teachers marked Justin as present for the day without seeing him. I went to school to check out my child, and no one knew where he was at. The secretary told me to go find my child. Justin told me he would climb onto the roof of the school. I have gone to the school early to find out that my son's walking around the halls. He said he was going back to his homeroom for dismissal, but after the truth came out, he was hiding from the janitor. My daughter told me the janitor was in the girls' bathroom while female children were present in the bathroom. Each of you needs to know what is going on within these cases, not to leave it to one person, but all of you to know what's going on. The entire board should be discussing these cases and knowing everything that's going on within them so that changes can be made and you all know the facts. I have asked then, and I'm going to ask now. And I'd like somebody to tell me, why did you fail my child? How could you let this happen? Why didn't you do your job? Why didn't you stop this from happening? My questions weren't answered then, and I know they're not going to be answered now. None of you. Not one of you have stepped forward to tell my child or my family that you're sorry for what you've done. I see through televised meetings that background checks are not important. Come out of someone's mouth. When will this stop? When will you stop allowing this to happen? When will you fire these individuals who knowingly made the wrong mistakes? No, they weren't mistakes. They seen the background check and they ignored them. Ignored them. Justice for Justin. And I will not stop.
For your comments. Up next, we have Ms. Cherie Latura. Please state your name. Glad to see you back at the meetings. It's been a little bit.
Good afternoon, good evening, Superintendent Javia. That is very foreign for me to say, President. Thank you all for allowing me up here. That is really tough to follow. I'm not gonna lie. As an advocate in the school system, I sometimes ask the same questions of you all. When are things gonna stop? When are things gonna be addressed? Today, I had to explain the bullying law to an assistant principal. Why is that? Why do our staff not know laws that apply to them, that they need to know when deciding the fate of a child or trying to protect a child? It is absolutely unacceptable that someone who does not work for the school system has to explain things on behalf of the school system. I had very productive meetings today, but that is something that stuck out with me, that I had to read the law, like verbatim. I read the law. And after this last person spoke, I was going to wait a little while to say something. But you all need to know that there was an incident at Lakeshore High on January 8th. Well, it wasn't actually at Lakeshore High. It was at another school, an out-of-district school. And 9 children were asked to push a school bus. And 2 of them have been injured as a result of this. I am advocating for 2 of the parents, and something needs to be done because 3 employees made very bad decisions on behalf of these children. Not only did they push the bus was being pulled first by a truck with a train with the children behind the bus. Then they tried a tractor. Now they're also told in this moment to lay low and not to contact their parents, which I have major issues with, and I'm pretty sure violates several laws in itself. Finally, they get a tow truck. Now, I'm sure many of you want to know the same question I wanted to know. Why didn't they call a tow truck to begin with? Why would they even dream of putting a girls' basketball team to push a bus? When y'all answer that question, please let me know.
Thank you, ma'am. Up next, we have Miss Nicole Sidlowski. I hope I pronounced that right. I didn't think I would. That was going to be my second guess.
Good evening. My name is Nicole Sidlowski, and I'm a teacher at Mandeville High School and live in Madisonville. I'm speaking tonight in hopes to share with the board and others the stress that teachers are facing. While I am terrified of retribution, I feel that it is my duty to discuss my concerns that many of my colleagues and I share. We have been asked to clean, take temperatures, monitor social distancing, police mask wearing, monitor students for COVID symptoms, learn new technology, adjust to new learning modules, learn the difference between and implement synchronous versus asynchronous learning, adapt the curriculum to new modules, come to school by 6:50 a.m., grade papers, watch for mental health issues in students, record and post lessons, teach students in class while also teaching students virtually, keep up with students who are quarantined and their makeup work, stay at school late to allow for students to do makeups, keep Google Classroom and JPAMS up to date, and so much more. We do all of this while risking the chance that we may contract COVID. The frustration is not only that we are asked to risk our health during a worldwide pandemic, but that we are asked to do more without any protections or compensation. We have been told to record our class sessions and post them online. Can these recordings be used for teacher evaluations or a just cause hearing? Do the parents know that their children are being recorded, even if it's only their child's voices? What prevents a parent from watching and deciding that they don't like how a teacher teaches a topic? What prevents a student from taking a recording on their phone, editing or splicing that recording and posting it on social media? We're being asked to put ourselves on camera knowing that we are not legally protected. We have the right to privacy as much as our students. This new technology has been thrown at us and we have not been given adequate support. Videos have been posted online, but new technology requirements have emerged since those first PD days in August. We've had to learn how to use a Chromebook, Google Classroom, Zoom, Google Meet, and other technologies on our own time without compensation and professional development time to learn and implement best practices. There are roadblocks that prevent us from even using the technology at its full potential. Teachers are being exploited for their free labor outside of their contractual hours. We are told on one hand to feel free to use some technology, but others are required. Teachers by nature are givers. We give our all to our students day in and day out. Teaching is more than just a job. It is a passion. It is this passion that has allowed teachers to pivot and adapt to the challenges of this year. But this year has dampened that passion. That passion can no longer sustain us without adequate compensation and support. How can we convince younger generations to join the teaching profession knowing that so many of our colleagues will not return after this year? Thank you.
Thank you so much for your comments. Up next, we have Mr. Brant Osborne.
Brent Osborne, Slidell, teacher at Slidell High School. Go Tigers. Disclaimer, when I'm at this podium, I speak only for myself. I speak to you as a teacher and also a homeowner, a taxpayer in St. Tammany. As we all know, our public schools are the crown jewel of our great parish, and I have a vested interest in seeing that jewel gleam again. But first, we must surmount the challenges of the present. Last week, I shared Mr. Winkler's remarks from the board meeting, and many teachers were deeply appreciative. Receiving validation is certainly important even in normal times, but these are extraordinary ones. Some wondered what's next. How do we move beyond validation to increase support? I recently had a positive meeting with Mr. Pete Jabbia and Mr. Kosei regarding the substitute shortage. We agreed upon some ways to increase the subpool that I think will help, but given our current conditions, I feel like more support is needed. I ask, what metrics are we using to determine risk, and how do these metrics relate to our school safety plan? Going by the CDC rubric, we remain at the highest levels of risk in several categories. One core indicator is number of new cases per 100,000 persons within the last 14 days. Anything greater than 200 is considered highest risk. At 1,237 cases per 100,000, we are currently 6 times higher than that number. The next category on the rubric has to do with positivity rate based on testing. Anything above 10% is considered highest risk. We are currently at 14% positivity rate. Our mitigation strategies rate only moderate because full in-person instruction doesn't allow for social distancing and is also the model with the highest risk. Respectfully, I would like the board and the superintendent to consider temporarily returning to a modified version of the hybrid plan, especially for schools with the highest numbers of cases and quarantines. If you recall, we didn't have these problems under hybrid because we could avoid mass quarantines via social distancing. The notion that schools don't contribute meaningfully to community spread is only confirmed when COVID numbers in the community are relatively low. Unfortunately, at this time, that's not the case in this parish. Thank you for your time and your consideration.
Thank you very much. Up next, we have Miss Melissa Thies. All right, moving on. Seeing that she's not here, the next agenda item, presentation of the 2019-2020 comprehensive financial report as prepared by Laporte CPAs and Business Advisors, Mr. Mickey Simon and Mr. Brian Huval. with LaPorte CPAs.
Good evening. Once again, I'd like to start with just appreciation for the opportunity to work with the school board and serve as auditor, and to work with the great staff that you have here. So we'll just dive into our report on the 2020 financial statements. We have issued several reports after our audit. The first is our independent auditor's report, which is essentially the report over the financial statements. We issued an unmodified opinion on the basic financial statements. So this is your clean opinion. I know the word unmodified is a bit of technical jargon. It basically means that the financial statements are fairly stated in all material respects in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles. In that opinion, we also had an emphasis of matter paragraph describing a prior period adjustment that was required for an overstatement to deferred inflows of resources related to other post-employment benefits. The next report that we issued was the Government Auditing Standards Report. So this involves additional procedures and work that we do, audit work that we do, just because you guys are a governmental entity. That report states that because of that extra work, we had no material weaknesses or significant deficiencies that were identified in the internal controls over financial reporting. Also, no non-compliance with laws and regulations was identified as a result of that additional testing. Lastly, we did have to include an other matter finding that was because of the misappropriation at one of the schools that was identified by the school board and self-reported to the LLA, but that was required to be included. Our next report is the Uniform Guidance Report. This is regarding the additional work that we do over just the federal money that comes through the school board, things like Title I and child nutrition and things like that. We perform some risk assessment and testing over that money. This report says that there were no material weaknesses or significant deficiencies that were identified in the internal controls over compliance. Also, we issued an unmodified opinion on compliance for the major programs. So those are the programs that ended up being tested. Usually those are selected every year. They sort of rotate based on risk. The unmodified opinion, of course, means the same thing as in the other case. It's a clean opinion. We didn't have any issues of non-compliance or question cost, essentially. And lastly, an unmodified opinion on the schedule that reports those federal funds. Some other issues, this is not a report, but just required communication to the board at the end of the audit on certain areas. Qualitative aspects of accounting practices, there were no new accounting standards adopted in the 2020 fiscal year. The application of existing accounting policies was not changed during the year. The sensitive estimates that we encountered and evaluated were the useful lives of capital assets, net pension liability, representing that obligation to pay pensions down the road, the net OPEB liability, and the claims liability. Difficulties that were encountered in performing the audit, there were none. Corrected and uncorrected misstatements, the only one was the one that we've already mentioned in that emphasis of matter paragraph regarding those deferred inflows of resources. Disagreements with management, there were none. Management consultation with other independent accountants. This would be if, for example, they didn't care for something that we said in the audit and just went looking to other auditors for an opinion on that. There was none to our knowledge. Other audit findings or issues, also none. And lastly, another report that we're required to do for all school districts regards information that you provide to the Department of Education. BESI requires these procedures be done over that data. The 4 sets of data or schedules that you see on the slide there are the ones that we tested. We tested the underlying data. No exceptions were noted in those procedures as well. So that wraps up all the reports that we have issued, and so I'll take any questions if you have any.
Do any board members have any questions? Ms. Richardson.
Hello, and thank you for being
Hi.
here.
Yes, ma'am.
I wanted to express gratitude, of course, to Terry Prevost, your team. It is a huge honor to get these awards. I heard you say 32 years in a row. Is that right? That's wonderful. I had noticed the dates. That was for June 2019. I'm curious, when do you anticipate the June 2020 awards to be issued?
I think they come out in the fall. Of course, the GFOA and the ASBO are the actual awarding agencies who give those awards. It's after evaluating those the CAFRs. So it usually takes them several months to do that. So it's
Okay.
in the file normally, right, Terry? Yeah.
Okay. And then with the two agencies I had noted was the GFOA and the ASBO, and I had taken some time just to look into that. And again, just a huge honor. That's great to get that. I was curious, you had mentioned the LLA. Do they, at a state level, does the LLA issue any awards to?
Not to my knowledge.
Not
no.
to, okay. I was just curious about that. Well, thank you. That's the only questions I have. So again, congratulations, Ms. Prevost, and to your team.
Mr. Nation.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Simon, thank you as always. And again, as I've said many times, thank you to Ms. Prevost and her team for what she does, because of not only the financial reporting that we do, but the financial handling of the monies has allowed us to be able to reduce our millage rates over the years, because we've been able to sock away, good solid cash reserves, which allowed Standard & Poor's to give us good credit rating. But, in all the years, at least that I've been on the board, I don't think I've ever asked, do you all, and of course I'm not asking for names, of course, but do you all audit or serve as CPAs for other governmental agencies?
Of course, yes.
Okay.
Many.
And other school boards?
Yes, sir.
How common is it given the size of our finances, of $500 million budget almost, and so forth, and all the thousands of transactions we probably have certainly on a monthly basis, if not on a daily basis, how common is it among governmental agencies to have no findings? Is that something that's
There's certainly a wide range. I think, some, it just depends on the level of sophistication. Obviously, the higher the sophistication, the fewer findings that usually come out of it, just because.
How sophisticated would you say we are?
A high level.
Okay.
A high level. And, it really relates back to those items that I mentioned earlier, the internal controls over financial reporting and the internal controls over compliance, because being a governmental entity, the compliance is also a key thing that often gets missed, but those internal controls are in place. So
great. Thank you.
Sure thing.
Ms. Heinz.
Mr. Simon, I just too want to thank you all for preparing this. I realize that we are required by law to get this report and have it compiled, and that it is a public document. And of course, it's a good resource for us and allows anyone in the public who would like to look over it to do so. Ms. Prevost, I'd like to thank you and your staff for putting it together. I know it's a lot of work, but it's important work and required work. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ms. Heinz. As everyone said, thank you so much, Mr. Simon, Mr. Huval, and Ms. Prevost and your team. Thank you. Moving on, approval of minutes for the regular meeting held on December 10th, 2020. Do I have a motion? Ms. Heinz, do I have a second? Mr. Luke? Any comments from the board? Any comments from the public? Everyone, please vote. We have 11 yeas, 0 nays, 1 abstention, and 1 not present. Up next is the approval of minutes for the special meeting held December 14th, 2020. Do I have a motion? Mr. Green, do I have a second? Mr. Darman? Any questions from the board? Comments from the public? Please vote. We have 10 yeas, 0 nays, 2 abstentions, and 1 not present. The appropriate retirement resolutions for the following certificated personnel subsequent to December 10th, 2020. Mr. Kosek.
Thank you, President Harrell, Superintendent Giabbia, and Board. I bring you the following appropriate retirement resolutions for certificated personnel for this month of December. Shirley A. Baham James, Shataima Elementary, 18.51 years, all in St. Timothy Parish. Elmer D. Roberson, Covington High, 26.50 years, all in St. Timothy Parish. Jane E. Walcott, Fountain Blue High, 30.51 years, 20.51 years in St. Timothy Parish. Linda W. Newman, Harrison Curriculum Center, 16.25 years, all in St. Timothy Parish. Roberta J. Torman, Harrison Curriculum Center, 38.20 years, 28.78 years in St. Timothy Parish. Rose T. Pishon, Mandeville Junior High, 23.50 years, all in St. Timothy Parish. And Patricia A. Dupuy, Salado Junior High, 20.41 years, all in St. Timothy Parish.
Thank you, Mr. Durham. Mr. Luke, any questions from the board? Comments by the public? Everyone please vote. We have 12 yeas, 0 nays, 0 abstentions, and 0 not present. Vote passes. The appropriate retirement resolutions for the following non-certificated personnel subsequent to December 10th, 2020. Mr. Kosek.
Thank you, Mr. Harrell. The second item again is the appropriate retirement resolutions on the following non-certificated personnel for December. Kathy Lustelot, Boyette Junior High, 24.78 years, all in St. Timothy Parish. Kathleen Crawford, Florida Avenue Elementary, 14.29 years, all in St. Timothy Parish. Kimberly A. Midance, Lyon Elementary, 10.06 years, all in St. Timothy Parish. Holly C. Hanson, Mandeville Elementary, 21.85 years, all in St. Timothy Parish. Lawrence C. McNeil, Slidell Warehouse, 27.17 years, all in St. Timothy Parish. And Carol S. McLean, Transportation Center, 16.69 years, all in St. Timothy Parish.
Do I have a motion? Mr. Betancourt, do I have a second? Mr. Green. Any comments from the board? Any comments from the public? Everyone please vote. We have 12 yeas, 0 nays, 0 abstentions, and 0 not present. Motion passes. For the approval of recommendations from committee as a whole meeting for business affairs held on January 14th, 2020, Mr. Green.
Thank you, Mr. President. The committee recommends adoption of the voluntary carryover provision of unused emergency paid sick leave through March 31st, 2021, as provided for by the Consolidated Appropriations Act 2021. And I so move.
Thank you, Mr. Betancourt, for the second. Any comments from the board? Any comments from the public? Please vote. We have 12 yeas, 0 Nays, 0 abstentions, and 0 not present. Motion passes.
Item B from that committee meeting, we recommend acceptance of the low base bid and alternate number 1 submitted by Brunt Construction, Inc. in the amount of $1,666,700 for the renovation at Folsom Elementary School, STPSB project number 1940.
Mr. Luke, can I have a second? Mr. Derman?
I'll do it. I just did one.
I know. I was watching for. Any questions from the board? Any comments from the public? Please vote. The motion passes unanimously.
Item C for that meeting recommends acceptance of the low base bid and alternates 1 and 2 submitted by Donahue Favre Contractors, Inc. in the amount of $11,929,000 for the additions at Little Oak Middle School, STPSB project number 1955.
Do I have a motion? Ms. Page? Do I have a second? Ms. Lambie? Any questions from the board? Any comments from the public? Please vote. And the motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Mr. Green. Moving on, announcements, update from the superintendent, Mr. Jabia.
Good evening. I just wanted to kind of go over some COVID information with you. Just like the entire parish, the parish has come down to 14% positivity, which was at 17.5. That still is a week behind what's actually happening. We monitor the real-time numbers. The real-time numbers are what I give you every Thursday or whenever you need them. We have seen positive cases come up among students by 187 since last Thursday. But again, we've seen a dramatic decrease since the Christmas break. We did have a huge spike over the Christmas break, as everyone saw across the United States, basically. But we have seen positive cases among employees was up 61 since 7 days ago when I reported to you last Thursday. But we are monitoring every avenue, every educational avenue is on the table. We look at the numbers daily. Our team is taking the hard numbers that come in. We get it from our employees' worksheets, from our student worksheets, and we evaluate those every day. So again, every platform is on the table. If we need to revert back to hybrid, if we feel like that needs to take place, I am going to notify this board, and we're going to do that if we need to. We are monitoring the numbers, like I said, daily, and we're in real time. The state is still 1 week behind us. That was numbers as of January the 7th. So they're a week behind what we are, even. I don't know why this thing's, I apologize for that. But there was a huge shift in numbers over the Christmas break. It made it very difficult for all of us in this entire parish. One last point of clarification, as was spoken earlier, that I said something that said we're not doing background checks. I want to make sure I clarify that. Background checks start at the hiring level, whether it be a principal, supervisor. They do the reference checks. Once they're forwarded to this office, our entire HR department takes over with fingerprints, background checks, everything from internet to any other means of screening we do. So I want to make sure that that's very clear, that we're not going to skimp when it comes to background checks on all of our employees or anyone that's volunteering, whether it be an athletic volunteer, whatever the case might be. So I just want to be very clear on that, that we have not and are not changing any of our measures we do for background checks. So thank you very much, and I appreciate the time.
Thank you, sir. I had a couple of quick announcements. We'll have, I guess, 2 special meetings, but I think we're gonna move it to 1 special meeting for Thursday, January 28th at 5 p.m. The February committee as a whole meeting will be held on Thursday, February 4th. The February board meeting will be held on Thursday, February 11th. We're going to go in now into an executive session. Do I have a motion to go into executive session? Ms. Richardson, do I have a second? Ms. Page? Any comments from the board? Comments from the public? Seeing none, please vote. Voice vote. Aye. The ayes have it. We'll now go into executive session. Thank you so much for